I hope you can see me now.
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, okay, good, good. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen.
Hmm?
Mhm.
Right.
Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can see your screen. The small matters of statistical probability on the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes. Actually, let me apologize to everybody. I thought that since I had given you this statistical you would have just everybody would just have started working the statistics out of it, and by now we should be having the answer if we can get answer. I want to thank the Lord for the opportunity that we have to take a look at this issue. Is an exciting issue to me. It's an exciting issue to people who had watched, who had actually given thought to this thing. I think one of the first places where I came across this thing was likely to be in the book of C.S. Lewis in the 80s or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Looking at something like, I mean, this issue of statistics probability. And I expect since I sent this, what do you call it, this summary to you people, I expect by now you are not going to have any problem in reminding yourself of what probability is. Please, I will expect that many of us should unmute ourselves.
Excuse me, sir. The
Yes.
file was not opening. The file that was sent for the lecture.
Oh no. The file did not open.
For me, it wasn't opening. I don't know for others.
What of for the others, please?
The same.
That is a plastic bottle.
Come again.
It's not opening.
It wasn't opening.
The file is not opening.
If we can have it in PDF, sir. It wasn't a PDF format.
What of for 𝐏𝑝𝑑𝐭𝑒? Is the file not opening with you too?
Well, it opened with me, the thing that I use.
Okay. No, yeah. I think it's likely you people don't have a Microsoft account or something. The people that the file did not open with, it's likely is because you don't have Microsoft, maybe periodic annual. Yeah, I think it's likely to be the case. So, but I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
Please, I want to hear from Sister Francisca and others.
I can see your screen, sir.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And as I said, we are going to mathematics, and mathematics is very exciting when it becomes everybody's problem. So please unmute yourself. We are going to be using mathematics to learn the Bible, and as I said, please unmute yourself. If I say anything and you quickly don't get it, as I said, this is elementary mathematics. Don't let me run over it. Otherwise, you will not get what we are talking about. So let me start reading. This is a little reminder on the laws of the joint probability of independent events occurring together. For those of us who did some elementary statistics, I was reading some statistical professor this weekend, this few days, and he said that we should not call statistics part of mathematics, that is a totally new branch of science altogether. Well, I couldn't. People can be quite funny, but you know these eggheads they form. So now the issue of probability. It's important for us to explain a little on the laws of probability. And in the elementary classes, it is the die. The die is that small for
Ludo.
I think Ludo is the die. This thing that we use in Ludo is you see that. Come again, sir.
Six-sided.
Six-sided, yes, thank you. Six-sided die. It's not called dice. Some people call it dice. It's not dice, it's die. That is generally what they use in explaining when you are trying to explain probability in a six-sided environment. If you're explaining probability in two-sided environment, you can use a coin, the head or a tail or the other one with either the crown or whatever. You can use coin. And therefore, maybe I should just start by talking about the coin, for example. Let's say the coin has a head and a tail. I don't know what's the name of the other side that is called. If the coin is not loaded, in statistics, loaded means that if we throw it up, only one side will generally turn up. That is the meaning of being loaded. If the coin is even, there's no part of it that is one side is heavier than the other. If you throw the coin, the probability of you getting head is 1 out of 2.
Yes.
I hope that is very clear. Which in probability in the laws of probability, we just 1 out of 2 is the same thing as half, 1 over 2, or generally speaking, 0.5. That is so. In probability terms, when they say, okay, what's the probability of getting head if you throw a coin? We just say P is equal to 0.5. Now, for a six-sided die, if the die also is even, if the die is even, if there's no part of the die that is cracked, or the die is not loaded, if you throw it up, the probability of in the die, you have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4, you have 5, then you have 6 that can turn up if you throw the die. Now, the probability of getting, let's say, 3. Okay, I want to throw this die. We are playing Ludo, and I want to throw this die. And what I'm looking for is 3. I'm not looking for 1. I'm not looking for 2. I'm not looking for 4. I'm not looking for 5. I'm not looking for 6. The probability of getting 3 is simply 1 over 6. That is the probability of getting 3. Because our die is even, the probability of getting 3 is the same thing as the probability of getting 6, which is the same thing as the probability of getting 4, which is the same thing as the probability of getting 1 or 2. Now, it does not mean, please get it very clear. When we talk of probability, you might, okay, we are having a die, and we say that the probability of getting 3 is 1 out of 6. What it means is that if we throw the die 6 times, one of them will be 3. No, that's not necessarily how it works. Before you can be sure you are going to get one of them that is 3, you might need to throw the die up to 10 times, at times up to 12 times, before you can get 3. Because the fact that I threw it once I did not get 3, does not mean that when I throw it next time, I will get 3. So when we say the probability of getting 3 is 1 out of 6, we are talking of a situation where we would have thrown the die, let's say, about 200 times. And we now calculate how many of those 200, or even 500 times, or even 1,000 times, how many of those ones were actually 3? When you do that, you discover that on the average, it will be 1 over 6. The same thing for all the other figures, for 5, for 4, for 6, for 2, for 1. So the average, therefore, we are talking of 1 over 6. Now, the other thing I must quickly say is that because we are saying that the probability of getting 3 is 1 over 6, the probability of not getting 3 is actually 1 minus 1 over 6. I hope that is very clear. If we are looking for 3, the figure we are looking for in this our die is 3. That's the figure we are looking for. If we say the probability is 1 over 6, because this is a 6-sided die, the probability that we are not going to get 3, please listen, get that one very clearly. If we throw the die, the probability that we are not going to get 3, because it's 3 we are looking for, is actually 5 over 6, which is actually 1 minus 1 over 6. I hope that's a very simple something. If instead of a 6-sided die, let us say we are not dealing with a 6-sided die. Let us say that we are dealing with a 10-sided die. Let's give ourselves the probability that we can actually produce no longer a 6-sided die, but we can indeed produce 10-sided. Okay, yes, yeah, okay, thank you. That we can produce 10-sided. And this particular 10-sided die is even also. No part of it is loaded. And we are looking for, if we have a 10-sided die, it means that we are going to have one part of it will be 1, one will be 2, one will be 3, up to 10. In this 10-sided die again, the figure we are looking for is actually 3. The probability we are going to get 3 this time around will fall from 1 over 6 to 1 over 10. I hope you know that 1 over 6 is greater than 1 over 10. Now, the probability that we are not going to get 3 is actually going to rise again from 5 over 6 to 9 over 10. I just hope you quickly get that. Now, let us now go to something that is totally theoretical. Let us say that instead of a 10-sided die, what we have is actually a 50-sided die. Let us assume that we can generate something like that, theoretically. And in this 50-sided die, the figure we are looking for again is just 3. When we throw our die up, we want 3 to come out. By now, I expect that most of us, we can visualize the direction of the probability, whether it will be going up or going down. Now, let me say something very quickly. Probability is actually between 1 and 0. 1 being the most certain positive, 0 being the most certain negative, impossible. I hope you can get that. So therefore, in probability, if you are coming from 1 then 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6. You are coming until you get to 0, 0.00. It continues to fall like that. And the same thing if you are going from 0.00 to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, up till 1. 1 is the highest you are going to get in probability. Because 1 actually tells you certainty. The definition of 1 in probability is certainty. That something like this is certain and it is positive. The other one, which is 0, something like this is certain, but is not possible. So now let us now use some of the aspects of the laws of probability. The laws of probability are quite a little, but the one that is of concern to us is that of independent events happening together. Now, in probability, what we call independent events is let us say 2 women. Let us say 2 women are pregnant by different men. We only have 2 sexes on earth. I think we can accept that, male or female. The probability that the first woman to give birth she's going to give birth to a male. Since there are only 2 sexes, the probability is only 1/2, which is 50%. The probability that the other woman too will give birth also to a male, that one too is 1/2, which is 0.5 also. Now, if we want to know, okay, yes, what is the probability of both of these women who are giving birth in 2 different days? If they may even give birth the same day, what is the probability of both of them giving birth to male? That is what you have on your screen. In the law of probability, what you do in that particular instance is that you multiply the probabilities. 1/2 times 1/2. If you do 1/2 times 1/2, it will give you 1/4. I hope everybody is with me. Okay, not Dadele, because he did the physics. So I hope everybody is with me. I hope everybody, please,
yes,
okay. So the probability, therefore, of the 2 women giving back to male children, to sons, is actually 1/2 times 1/2. And if you do 1/2 times 1/2, you are going to get 1/4. Which means that by multiplying, because you are multiplying fractions, if you multiply fraction, the result is going to be becoming lower and lower. In this particular case, what you are going to get is actually half of what you had before, the probability. You can take that to look at the probability of having 10 women. And you are looking at the probability of all the 10 women giving back to sons at the same time. We are assuming that the 10 women were not impregnated by the same man or connected men. Okay, we are assuming that each of the women from their different husbands and so on, but we want to know what the probability of all of them coming together. That's the kind of thing that we call joint probability of independent events. If you look at that, since there are only 2 possibilities, you are going to get 1 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 up to 10. And in that case, you are no longer going to get 1/4. If I'm not mistaken, I think what you are going to get is, I don't know, maybe something as small as 1/20 or something like that. or 1/40, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 1/40. That's what you are going to get. That's the probability. That will tell you how low it's getting to a situation where it's tending towards zero. It's tending towards impossibility. That you are going to have that you have a group of 10 women, and all the 10 of them independently, when they give birth, they are going to have sons. And you are going to have 1/40. 1/40 is equal to 2.5%, if I'm not mistaken. That's 2.5%. The probability of that one happening, it will only happen in 2.5% of the. I hope we get that. That's what we have here. So we can now go to the Bible and look at the various probabilities, laws that the Messiah must fulfill. Don't forget, we got here by the root of prophecies. The Bible has prophecies of what and who the Messiah must be. The Messiah himself said that from Moses to all the prophets, they all wrote about him. That was where we are coming from in the previous two weeks. The Messiah himself said that the prophets, they all wrote about him. If you look at what you have on your screen, that is item number 1. The Holy Book said that the Messiah must be an Israelite. Please, in this time around, as I said, if you see Bible passages, because I said this is going to be involved. Everybody's going. So please unmute yourself. Somebody will read Genesis chapter 12, verse 3 for us. Somebody else will read Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Somebody else will read Genesis 26, verse 4, and so on and so forth. One by one, please. The first person should give us Genesis chapter 12, verse 3.
I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonor you, I will curse. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
Okay, that was God talking to Abraham, I hope.
Yes.
Okay, please, somebody else should read for us Genesis chapter 22, verse 18.
Genesis 22:18 says,
yes,
in your seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice.
Okay. That was God talking to Abraham again, this time around, again. Another person should read to us Genesis chapter 26, verse 4.
Okay.
Please, let's move quickly. There are a lot of Bible passages, so that we are not doing mathematics. We are reading the Bible.
I will multiply your offspring as the star of heaven, and will give you your offspring all the lands, and give to your offspring all the lands, and in your offspring all the nations of the earth shall be blessed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That one was being addressed to who, sir?
That was being addressed to, sorry, I don't want to misquote that. Genesis 26. That one was being addressed to Isaac.
To Isaac?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, Genesis chapter 22, verse 18, they are addressed to Abraham. 26, verse 4 to Isaac. Please, somebody quickly, 28, verse 14.
28:14.
Yes.
Also, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and the east, to the north and the south, and in you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
Okay. Thank you very much, my dear sister. Thank you. That was being addressed to Jacob, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So can you see something that is common on the line? The first was to Abraham. The second was to Isaac. Abraham, incidentally, had more than one son. I hope we know that. In actual fact, he had more than two. If I'm not mistaken, the sons of Abraham, he had sons after his wife died. He got married to Keturah also, and that one gave birth to sons and daughters for him. God isolated the promise that you have in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, localized it on Isaac in Genesis 26, verse 4. Isaac himself had more than one son. He had Jacob and Esau. In Genesis, please, you must know these things because that is the lineage. In Genesis chapter 28, verse 14, God said that it was the line of Jacob. That promise continued only on the line of Jacob. Somebody should please read to us Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15.
The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you, from your brothers. It is to him you shall listen.
Thank you very much. This was Moses talking to the Israelites. The Lord your God is going to raise up a prophet like me, not among the Yoruba people, not among the Arabs, not among the people of Mesopotamia, not among the English, not among the French, but among your people. Please, John chapter 4, verse 22.
John 4:22.
Yes.
You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
Thank you very much. Salvation is of the Jews. Salvation is of you. Please let's get that one very clearly, because there are people on earth who are rebels. Every one of us on earth, we are rebels. It's only God touching our heart that turns us to him. But there are people on earth who, what is special about the Jews? That there's nothing special about them. In any case, we have even supplanted them. Maybe some of you would have been hearing the idea that Christians have supplanted the Jews. No, we have not. Salvation is of the Jews. So the very first thing that we know about the Messiah is that he must be an Israelite. He must be a Hebrew. He must be a Jew. The prophet has said that thousands of years before time. So we must take that. And with the little that we did in the laws of probability, we are now saying that let us assume when Christ was born, there were 25 million people on earth at that time. Let us assume that out of the 25 million, only one of them were Jews. Only 1 million of them were Jews. From the little we did in the laws of probability, in the elementary probability, that means that 1 out of 25 people on earth were Jews. You may accept this, you may not accept it, it does not matter. Your idea may be better than this. You might think that maybe there were 50 million people on earth and the Jews were 1 million. The effect is going to have in what we are going to do is that instead of 1/25, we are going to have 1/50. That is all. Or if you accept that maybe there were 10 million people on earth and 1 million out of them were Jewish, you are going to have 1/10. Now, the second part. So please, I expect you people to be writing something, and what you should write is simply this probability. Please put the probability down for the first one at 1.1/25. You are going to use your calculator later, please. The second is that he must be born in Bethlehem. We talked that one earlier because the prophet Micah in verse 2 of chapter 5 specifically named Micah, and I think also Jeremiah also named Micah. Sorry, Jeremiah also named Bethlehem. Jeremiah wrote somewhere of Rachel weeping for her sons because they were not. And in the New Testament, that particular prophecy was quoted when Herod sent soldiers to go and kill the babies around Bethlehem and his coast. So it was more than only the book of Micah that you see Bethlehem as being the prophecy. What we are saying basically is that Bethlehem was named. So and the issue we're actually treating is that you want to be the Messiah. You want to be the Messiah. That is it. You, not the person who is the Messiah. Any other person wants to be the Messiah. And you can see the little that I wrote there, that if we assume that in Bethlehem had a population of 8,000, out of a population of 1 million in the whole of Israel, that's a very simple probability thing to be calculated. That's simply 1/125. So if you have started doing some little work, first of all, you should write 1/25 multiplied by 1/125. Don't forget, the issue we are dealing with is the probability, the joint probability of independent events. Item number 3. The prophet said that he will be betrayed by a friend. This is in Psalm 55, verse 12 to 14. Can somebody please read Psalm 55, verse 12 to 14 for us, please? Please, quick. Somebody should please read there. I hope you are hearing my voice.
Yes.
Yes.
Psalm 55.
Sister Francisca, yes. Please go
12
ahead.
to 14.
Yeah.
For it is not an enemy who reproaches me, then I could bear it. Nor is it one who hates me, who has exalted himself against me, then I could hide from him. But it was you, a man, my equal, my companion and my acquaintance. 14. We took sweet counsel together and walked to the house of God in the throng.
Thank you very much. Thank you. At least you can get it that the person being referred to there was a friend. They took sweet counsel together when they walked to the house of the Lord. And you know that all those times that the Messiah was going to the house of the Lord, his friend was with him, Judas Iscariot. I hope you know that. So if we ask the question, we can assume that out of 8 people on earth, one of them will be betrayed by a friend. As I said, you can check this. You can say, oh no, we are not that bad. We are not that bad. It is 1/20. If you say that, what you are saying is that instead of using probability of 1/8, we should use probability of 1/20. So you should multiply what you have been having. Just write another multiplication sign and put 1/8. But if you think that no, we are really not that bad, as a species, only 1 out of 50 people are betrayed by a friend. Instead of 1/8, you just put 1/50, please. It's as simple as that. He will be sold for 30 pieces of silver. Can somebody please read for us Zechariah chapter 11, verse 12 to 13?
Then I said to them, if it seem good to you, give me my wages. But if not, keep them. And they weigh out as my wages 30 pieces of silver. Then the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter, the lordly price at which I was priced by them. So I took the 30 pieces of silver and threw them into the house of the Lord to the potter.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He will be sold for 30 pieces of silver. You yourself, you know how many people are sold for 30 pieces of silver. Let us, we are doing elementary probability. Let us assume that maybe 2 people, not 5 pieces of silver, not 2 pieces of silver, not 100 pieces of silver, not 50, but 30 pieces of silver. Out of the population of the earth of about 25 million, how many of them will be sold for 30 pieces of silver? I hope we get what we are talking about. So the probability of that is a little low still. And if we say maybe only about 2 of them will be sold, you might say, no, they can be more than 2, maybe 20, maybe 200. You can even say 1 million. It does not matter. What we are interested in is the probability, this fraction. That is what we are interested in. So instead of using my 2/25 million, you may decide to use 1/1 million. And say that it's almost, I hope you get what we're saying. Now, this is the next probability. The seller will not derive any benefit from the sale. It's the same passage. This one is the same passage. It's in Zechariah chapter 11, verse 12 to verse 13. Is there? I hope we can remember what we have just read. That the seller, this friendly seller, will not, first of all, it will sell this person for 30 pieces of silver, but he himself will not even derive any benefit from the sale. Okay, if we say, okay, in this particular instance, you can sell your friend, but you really wouldn't get any benefit from that. What's the probability of that happening? You will say it is maybe 1 in 1,000. You take all the troubles in selling your friend, but you are not even deriving any benefit from it. How probable is that to happen? How likely is that to happen? If we are generous, we give it 1 in 1,000, and that's how you have 1/1,000 a year. The proceeds will be given to the potter. That is what we have in Zechariah chapter 11, verse 12, part of where we have read before. The proceeds will not be given to the shipbuilder. The proceeds will not be given to the basket weaver. The proceeds will not be given to the shoemaker. The proceeds will not be given to the garment maker. The proceeds will not be given to the priest, or to the farmer, or to the hunter, or to the warrior. the proceed will be given to the potter. What's the probability of that one happening? I wasn't that more generous. I gave it maybe one of the two, maybe 1 out of 25 million. And that's why you have what you have here. And it will be done in the house of the Lord. I hope we get the issue of statistics, the issue of probability of independent events. The sale will be done by a friend. The sale will be 30 pieces of silver. The sale, the seller will not benefit from it. And the sale will be done in the house of the Lord. The sale will not be done in the market, where sales are done generally. The sale will not be done in the palace of kings or in army barracks. The sale will not be done in the farm. The sale will be done in the house of the Lord. That's part of what you have in Zechariah chapter 11, verse 12. So I was a little generous and I gave that one to 1 out of 25 million. In Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10, maybe, please, somebody should please read it to us. We have not read it. Zechariah 12, another person, please.
Zechariah 12:10.
Yes.
And I will pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirits of grace and supplication. Then they will look on me whom they pierced. Yes, they will mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and grieve for him as one grieves for a firstborn.
Thank you very much. This person must be pierced. He will be pierced. So you have to find a way of being pierced too, for you to be the Messiah. You have to, the sword must be on you. There must be what do you call it, wound of a sword on you. That is what you have in Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10. I think there's another passage of the Bible. Oh, sword, 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 rise against my shepherd, if I'm not mistaken. If Dadele is still around with us, he might be able to get us.
Yeah.
Okay, that particular passage. Oh, sword, sword, rise against my shepherd, against the man that is my equal. It's not in what you have here, but I'm just telling you that is another prophecy that must be fulfilled by this fictitious Messiah. Or maybe I should say putative Messiah, rather. That must be, if you want to be the Messiah, you have to, this one too, you have to fulfill it. Most of these prophecies, generally speaking, they are not in one place in the Bible. Most of the prophecies, they are repeated one time or the other, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in very many places. Not by the same writer, not by the same prophet, generally speaking, by different prophets, over hundreds of years. So this our putative Christ, as you can see very clearly, as you saw very clearly in Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10, must be pierced. If we say that, okay, 1 in 5,000 people were pierced by a sword. 1 in 5,000 people who died, they were killed by a sword. So we have a probability again of 1 over 5,000. There should be some people who are a little at home with elementary mathematics among us, and I expect such people to have started giving me an idea of what the answer is looking like. Can somebody tell me about what the answer is looking like? We have only done 1 over we have only done 1/8 of the probabilities.
It's tending towards 0. It's becoming smaller and smaller and smaller.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, number 9, his garments will be shared by a lot. Somebody else should please read for us Psalm 22, verse 18. Psalm 22, verse 18. Quickly, please. Somebody should open the Bible to it.
They divided my
the Bible to
among them.
Come again.
They divided my garment among them.
Okay. That is all.
And for my clothing, they cast lots. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. They cast lots. For my clothing, they cast lots. We are generally adults. Generally, how many people get into a situation where lots were being cast for their garments? You know, 1/4 is a very generous probability.
Right.
1/4 is very, very generous. The more realistic thing should be something like 1/40,000, if I'm not mistaken. Of people who die, executed people who die, you see to every one of them that is that they cast lots for their garments. But let us be very generous. Let's give it 1/4. Somebody should read for us again, Zechariah chapter 13, verse 6. While another person opens to Psalm 22, 14 and 17, please, quickly.
Zechariah chapter 13, verse 6. Yes. And if one asks him, what are these wounds on your back? He will say, the wound I received in the house of my friend. And by the way, the other one you are looking for is yes, verse 7 of that.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
22:14.
Okay.
I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart has turned to wax, it has melted within me. 17. All my bones are on display. People stare and gloat over me.
Thank you, Brother Valentine. Please, people should put their nose on those verses that Brother Valentine has just read. And you see that what he has just read, those were extraordinary deaths. Those were extraordinary deaths. It was somebody some years ago who was explaining to us how crucifixion, how it actually affected the victim. That when they hit your hands and your legs with the nails generally don't go through your bones. They go through your skin, then the muscle. While they are doing that, you are lying on your back, on the floor, on the ground. You are lying on your back, or they put you on the cross. After the nails have been driven firmly, they now jack you up. After the nails have been driven to your hands and your legs, you are now jacked up. That one of the first things that will happen is that your bones will generally factually all dislocate. Don't forget, you are no longer standing on your heels on the ground. You are now hanging. That is generally for one of the first things that will happen. And that is what the Messiah in prophecy was describing in Psalm 22, 14 and 17. In actual fact, the Psalm 22, 14 and 17, according to history, was written before crucifixion was actually devised. I think it was devised by the Persians.
Persians.
Yes, I think so. Before they invented that very lovely way of killing people, Psalm 22, 14 and 17 were described. If you look at it very well, you discover that this person was not dying by simply sword. He was not dying by archery, somebody shooting a gun or something like that at the person. Because if you had to die by archery, you will not be seeing your bones. Your bones will not be staring at you. So let's be generous and say, okay, how many people go on that basis too? Let's say maybe one in 20,000. So you give it a probability of 1 in 20,000. He will be identified with criminals in his death. Somebody, please, Isaiah 53, verse 9.
And they made his grave with the wicked, but with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth.
Thank you, my dear sister. And you see the little question that I wrote there. How many ordinarily good people are identified with criminals in their last moment on earth? The 1 over 10,000 that you put there is my own idea. You might think it's lower than that, in which case you might give it 1 over 50,000. You might think, no, it's supposed to be higher. It's maybe 1 over 5,000. It does not matter. What we are interested in getting is the probability. So whether you use probability of 1 over 10,000 that I suggest there, or you use probability of 1 over 5,000, just put whatever. You don't need to agree that there are 10,000. You don't need to agree with me. You could say there are maybe 1 in 5,000, whichever. The same Isaiah chapter 53, verse 9, if you look at it again, it says that the rich will be involved in his burial. The rich will be involved in his death. And I ask the question, how many ordinarily poor people are specially buried by the rich? The rich people, they are looking for poor people to bury, isn't it?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay. But the prophet had written that this particular person, poor as he was in the society, the rich will be involved in his funeral. A rich person will be involved in his funeral. I was a little generous, and I said maybe 1 in 20,000. But I know it's more likely to be close to 1 in 200,000. So you can take my probability of 1 in 20,000 and put it there. He must be born before the scepter departed Judah. Maybe somebody should read for us Genesis chapter 49, verse 10. We read this passage last time, but please read it for us.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until tribute comes to him, and to him shall be the obedience of the prophet of the people.
Can somebody read that in King James Version for us, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
Until Shiloh comes, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
Yeah.
Who is it that the gathering of the people shall be to?
Messiah.
Unto me, every knee shall bow, every tongue confess. There's a passage like that again in your Bible.
Isaiah 45.
Thank you, sir. The Genesis chapter 49, verse 10 is an interesting passage. Very, very interesting. I thank God a few years ago, I had the explanation. I was simply shaking my head. That the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. Until Shiloh comes. But the scepter shall depart from Judah eventually, but not before Shiloh comes. I was not told, I was now told that in the book of John, chapter 19, I think we read it the last time. I think either verse 11 or something like that. We can please quickly check it. Somebody should please open to John chapter 19, if I'm not mistaken. I think
that could have no power at all against me, except it was given thee from above. Therefore,
no, sir, that's not the place we need, sir. Let me see. We are looking for John chapter 19, verse 6 and 7, please. Sorry.
It's all right. When the chief priests, therefore, and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate said unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I have found no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he has made himself the Son of God.
You see, I thank God for the people. Some people really have done some work on aspects of the Bible that ordinarily you don't have. The average person does not have. But some people, God had used some people to do work on the history. Now, look at John chapter 19, verse 6. This was during the trial and the conviction of the Lord Jesus Christ. Pilate told the mob, led by the priest, by the chief priest, and the officers of the temple. Pilate told the mob that he did not see anything worthy of death in the accused. But they insisted that the accused must be crucified, must be killed. In verse 7, they now retorted by saying, we have a law, and by our law, he ought to die. The question you should ask yourself is, yeah, if you have the law, and by your law, he ought to die, why bringing him to a foreigner? Because Pilate was not a Jew. Why bring him to a foreign power? If you had a law, if you have a law, and by your law he ought to die, why didn't you take him and execute him on the basis of your law? It was later we were made to understand that a few years before this particular incident, Rome had removed the power of sovereignty from Israel, from Judah. We know in your study of elementary politics, the political science, that the ultimate power of the state is the power to kill, is the power to execute lawfully. I hope you can get that. It's not just the power to lock somebody up in jail. It's not just the power to detain somebody. It's not just the power to tax. The ultimate power of the state is the power to lawfully take life. That's the ultimate power of the state. By the time of John chapter 19, verse 6 and verse 7, the Satan had departed Judah. So, for you to be the Messiah, you have to be born while the Satan was still in Judah. And this has to apply to you also. So I was generous. I gave that one 1/25,000. It must be born when the book of genealogy of the Jews was still intact. So we can trace his lineage. You know, you have to trace his lineage. I hope you know that. I hope you know where we started from. He has to be the son of Abraham. He has to come through the line of Isaac, through the line of Israel, and so on. And I think there are provisions. He has to come through the line of Judah. He has to be the son of David. There are all those ones, they are there in your Bible. I hope you know that one. If you go to Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5, somebody should read Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5.
And my God put into my heart to gather together the nobles and the rulers and the people, that they might be reckoned by the genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of them, which came up at the first and found written therein.
Thank you very much, sir. The rest of us, I hope we can see that in Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5, we are reading about the record of genealogy. I hope we can see it there. The record of genealogy of the Jews, of Israelites. Please unmute yourself as I said. I hope it's not only Dadele that is with me. Can you see from your Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5, that Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5 is talking about ancestry.com of those days? That the book of genealogy must be available. As you can see from what I wrote there, that book was destroyed in AD 70. I hope you know the implication of that. The implication of that is that from AD 70 until Christ comes back, no Jew can lay claim to being the Messiah, because the book of genealogy has been destroyed. I hope you understand what that means. If you read Matthew chapter 1, if you read Luke chapter 3, you see the list of genealogy. So person begat so person, so person begat so person, so person begat so person. Most people who are reading the Bible, when they read those passages of the Bible, they think they are reading something that does not even. What am I going to get in A begat B, O begat C, and that one begot D, and all those kind of things? The truth is that there is no part of your Bible that anything is written that is useless. They all relate. They all relate to how we overcome this small problem, this small matter of probability of the Messiah. So I don't know. I just gave it a probability of 1/1.25 million. You might be able to get something better, but no matter whatever you get, Just put it there. You are going to do multiplication with it. That is the issue. He must be a descendant of David. You know, we have mentioned that. 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 6. Can somebody read 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 6?
Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to these days. But I've walked in a tent, in a tabernacle. Is that what you want?
No. What I want is that the descendant of David will be on the throne forever.
16, verse 16.
It's verse 16. Okay, sorry. Please, sorry.
And your house and your kingdom shall be established forever before you. Your throne shall be established forever. Is that it?
Thank you very much. That is it, please. That is it. It's not 6, it's 16. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you have to be the descendant of David. That is what the prophet said. I was a little generous. I gave it 1/40,000. You can give it anything. You can give it 1/5. You can give it 1/20,000. Whatever it is you give, it doesn't matter. But it has to be fulfilled. When we say that something does not matter, it does not mean that you can do without it. No, not at all. We are talking of it doesn't matter by the weight of probability. Item number 16. He must appear in Jerusalem 4 days before a Passover, when he will be executed. So somebody else, apart from 𝐴𝘳𝑖𝘵 should read for us Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 to 6. Another person, Daniel chapter 9, verse 25. Another person, Matthew chapter 21, 5 to 11. And another person, Mark 11, 9/10. 9 to 10, sorry. Quickly, please. Exodus chapter 12.
Sorry, let me just read Exodus chapter 12 so that why
they opened. Okay, somebody else should please, meanwhile, open to Daniel chapter 9, verse 25.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their father, a lamb for a house. If the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up until 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, can somebody please try to answer this question? On what day of the month was the lamb supposed to be taken out?
10th.
Come again, please.
10th.
What day of the month is the lamb supposed to be killed?
14th.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please take that one into account. Somebody else should now read Daniel chapter 9, verse 25 for us, please.
Daniel 9:25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in the troublesome times.
Thank you, my dear lady. Thank you. So you are having 69 weeks of years. 69 weeks of years, please. From the time that the order, the proclamation for the walls of Jerusalem is given, the prophet said that the Messiah will show up 69 weeks of years. 69 times 7, 69 times 7, 69 times 7 is, I think it's 483, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 483 times 360. Because in the Jewish calendar, you have all the months are 30 days. You don't have February being 29 or 28, March being 31, May being 30, all those kind of things. Every month is 30 days. So what you are having there for, I think, is 178833, or if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. You can do somebody can do the calculation. 483 years times 360. From the moment the proclamation to rebuild Jerusalem is given, the Messiah, the Prince, must show up. Somebody else should read for us Matthew chapter 21, verse 5 to 11, please.
Matthew 21,
yes.
5 to 11. Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, lowly, and sitting on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. 6. So the disciples went and did as Jesus commanded them. They brought the donkey and the colt, laid their coats on them, and set him on them. 8. And a very great multitude spread their clothes on the road. Others cut down branches from the trees and spread them on the road. 9. Then the multitude who went before and those who followed cried out, saying, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. 10. And when he had come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, Who is this? So the multitude said, This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth of Galilee.
Thank you, my dear lady. Thank you. Thank you. Can you connect that passage with Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 to 6?
Yeah. The time he entered Jerusalem.
Yes. Matthew 21, verse 5 to 11 is connected with Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 to 6 is connected. They are like carbon copy of one another. Matthew chapter 21, verse 5 to 11. You see the picture of it in Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 to 6. The lamb. Somebody else should read for us Mark chapter 11, so that we just talk briefly about that part, the paragraph. Mark 11, verse 9 to 10.
Mark 11, 9 to 10.
Yes.
And those who went before and those who followed were shouting, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest.
Thank you very much. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 to 6, we saw that the lamb must be taken from the stall, from the gathering of other lambs. The particular lamb that will be used for the sacrifice must be singled out on the 10th of the month. Are we together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And it must be brought home. You take the lamb from the store, you bring the lamb home to where people live, so that everybody, for the next 4 days, everybody will see the lamb. I'll be looking at it. If in the next 2 or 3 days, the lamb should die by itself, you know it's not the proper lamb. You know this is a sick lamb. For the next 4 days, everybody will, as they come in, as they go out, they will look at the lamb, they will look at the legs. Is this lamb, is he eating the fodder? Is he drinking water? Is he a healthy lamb? Or is he a sickly animal? You know, you must not use sickly animal to do sacrifice. I hope you know that one.
Yep.
You must not use a cripple to do sacrifice. I hope you know it. Or
Yes,
a blind animal. I hope our Bible study is to that level.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That you cannot bring one that is having scurvy, or that is blind, or that is not eating fodder, or that is not drinking, one that is not passing stool where you tie it down. The community, the whole house must come and go and look at the lamb and see that this lamb is healthy and fit and proper for 4 days. You cannot go and pick the lamb 2 days to the sacrifice. You cannot go and pick the lamb a day to the sacrifice, 3 days to the sacrifice. You have to pick it 4 days. And the purpose is for you to actually see that the lamb is fit and proper and agile. That actually was what happened in Matthew 21, verse 5 to 11. What you people call Christ coming to Jerusalem on the donkey was actually the presentation of the lamb. It was the lamb making himself. Until that particular day, Christ more or less had himself at low key. Even where he did stupendous miracle, he would tell people, do not make any noise about it. If the people he healed, if they were lepers, the law said that a leper must not get into society without the priest giving him a certificate. So he will now tell the leper, the former leper, go to the priest and offer all the sacrifices that are commanded in the law of Moses, so that the priest can give you the certificate of health, that you can now join society. If you have been certified that you had leprosy in those days, even when you are healed, you cannot simply go to your house. The first place you go is that you go to the priest who will examine you. They generally put them in quarantine. They will put you in quarantine for about 7 or so days and observe you. If after 7 days, there's no trace of the leprosy again, and I think the priest will examine you for another 7 days, if I'm not mistaken. When the priest is satisfied that, no, this man is totally healed of leprosy, he will now give you a certificate that you can now go back and join society. If you have a wife, you go back to your wife. If you have a husband, you go back to your husband. If you are not married, you can now start looking for a spouse. If you are not a leper, if your disease was just any other disease, when Christ healed them, generally speaking, he asked them to keep quiet. It was not the same thing for what you are seeing in Matthew chapter 21, verse 5 to 11. That was a special day. That special day was actually prophesied in Daniel chapter 9, verse 25. So you have to read Daniel chapter 9, verse 25 with the book of Nehemiah chapter 2. I think it's verse 4 to verse 8 or something like that. In the last 100 years, it was discovered that what you had in Daniel chapter 9, verse 25 actually happened to the actual date in Matthew 21, 5 to 11, and Mark 11, 9 to 10. In line with what you have in Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 to 6. the Messiah rode to Jerusalem on the donkey 4 days before he was executed. His riding into Jerusalem was to announce, here is the real lamb, the actual lamb the world had been waiting for. No longer small letter L. This time around, capital letter L. And everywhere in Jerusalem, everyone in Jerusalem, that is what you have in Matthew chapter 21, verse 5 to 11. And in Mark 2, the whole city was stirred so that they could come and see that the lamb is fit and agile and proper. Now, for you, this is a small thing that you have to do if you are to be the Messiah. And you know, again, I was a little generous. I gave you maybe 1 over 100,000. That's the probability that I give. You could give something else, but that's it. Now, I think this is the last that I dealt with. In Daniel chapter 9, verse 26, somebody should read for us Daniel chapter 9, verse 26. One of our sisters should please read
Daniel chapter 9, 26.
Yeah.
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The streets shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times. Oh, sorry, that was 25. 26.
Go ahead. Go to 26, yes.
And after the 62 weeks, Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end of it shall be with a flood. Until the end of the war, desolations are determined.
Thank you very much. After the Messiah shall be cut off, the Messiah, the Prince, shall be cut off, not for himself. The people of the Prince that shall come, what did they say they would do? They would destroy the sanctuary. I think that's what you have in your Bible. I hope so.
Destroy the city and the sanctuary.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So the city and the sanctuary must not have been destroyed before the Messiah. So if you want to be the Messiah, you have to, there are a lot of things you must do. A few things you must do rather. One of them is that you have to ensure that you died before the city and the sanctuary were destroyed. We know that the city and the sanctuary were destroyed in AD 70. I hope so. I hope we know that. I was a little generous on that. I gave it 1 over 100,000. So, and this is the end of, or rather, this is, I'm just considering, we are just considering only about 17 of the prophecies. Some people say that in the Bible you have more than 300 prophecies that relate only to this person that he must fulfill. One of my old teachers is dead now. There was a time he was joking with one American primary school children jokes that Abraham Lincoln was a special man, was a special boy. He actually built the cabin where his mother gave birth to him. So you have to make sure you also build the cabin. In fact, as the Messiah, you have to do more than building the cabin where your mother is to give birth to you. What you have in the Bible, they are such that There are specific windows of time where you must be born. Where you must be born, where you must be born, what kind of social system must be around that time, how you must die, what must happen to your garments in your death. You have to ensure that you appears. Other passages of the Bible say that the bone of the lamb, of the Passover lamb, must not be broken. I'm just trying to remind you that those ones are not touched. In this very, very short summary of prophecies concerning the Messiah. The bone, for all the violence done to the Messiah, the bone, no bone of his was broken. It was already in the prophets that the bone of the lamb for the sacrifice must not be broken. And it didn't actually happen. So these are just a few. And just as I said, I expect that for the little that we have done, for just these 17 heads of probabilities, each of us, we are having an idea of how easy it is for you to have the Messiah. Thank you, everybody.